welcome back to this open classroom. Today we will be talking something about cell division in living organisms. One of the most peculiar and important characteristics of all living cells is their ability to grow and divide. After growing to its full size, the cell divides into two daughter cells, which in turn would grow to its full size into new cells and again undergo division. The cell division is a process by which the cell duplicates itself for growth and reproduction of the living organism. Basically, there are two types of cell division. If division occurs in the somatic cells, then it is known as mitosis. If division occurs in the sexually reproductive cells, then it is known as meiosis. Today, I will talk only about mitosis. Mitosis occurs only in the somatic cells, that is, those cells of a multicellular organism that are not involved in sexual reproduction, but are responsible for the growth of the organism and replacement of the old dead cells. Though the first account of mitosis was put forward by A. Schindler in 1873, it was Walter Fleming who observed mitosis in great details in salamander in 1879. Later in 1882, he coined the term mitosis. Later, there were many other cytologists who had provided detailed information about cell division. One of the basic characteristics of mitotic cell division is that it gives rise to two daughter cells which resemble each other and also the parent cells qualitatively and quantitatively. The process of mitosis is more or less same in all the living organisms. The only difference is seen in the duration of the different stages of the process. Mitosis is a continuous process. However, for convenience, it is usually divided into the following main phases that we shall observe one by one. The first phase of mitosis is prophase. As you can observe, at the beginning of the prophase itself, the chromatin starts coiling and condensing, and as it progresses, the chromosomes start becoming visible as thin thread-like structures inside the nucleus. At the same time, it should be noted that the cell becomes spheroid and viscous. Eventually, the thread-like chromatin gets converted into short and thick ribbon-like structures, which are actually called the chromosomes. Do not fail to observe that each prophase chromosome is composed of two identical chromatids. These two identical chromatids are called sister chromatids. After the full-fledged chromosomes are formed, they move towards the nuclear envelope. At the same time, while all this development is occurring, you may have noted that initially the two pairs of centrioles which lay nearby to each other separate and migrate, and each pair will locate itself at the two opposite poles of the cell along with their esters, due to which the microtubules of the esters form the typical mitotic spindle. After all these nuclear and cytoplasmic processes have occurred, the prophase comes to an end. The end of prophase is indicated by the disintegration of the nuclear envelope and the release of the chromosomes into the cytoplasm. The prophase is followed by the metaphase. During this phase, the chromosomes that are released free into the cytoplasm from the disintegrated nucleus start getting attached to the mitotic spindle fibers. Only one chromosome gets attached to each spindle fiber and they get attached by the centromere region, as you can note. The chromosomes are arranged radially with the smaller ones towards the interior while the larger towards the periphery. However, all the chromosomes are arranged at the equatorial region of the cell. Have a careful look at this phase again. The metaphase is followed by the anaphase. This phase is a determining phase of mitosis, as you will note. This phase begins with the separation of the sister chromatids of each and every chromosome. The resulting daughter chromosomes with their single chromatids separate and move apart and migrate towards the opposite poles of the cell. Hence, it should be noted that while the chromosomes during prophase and metaphase were made up of 2 chromatids each, the chromosomes during anaphase get rendered with a single chromatid due to the separation of the sister chromatids. The anaphase is followed by the telophase. The end of polar migration of the daughter chromosomes marks the beginning of telophase. During this phase, the chromosomes start uncoiling and the process resembles prophase occurring in reverse direction. As they uncoil and decondense, they are converted into chromatin fibers and get surrounded by discontinuous segments of the new nuclear envelope. These nuclear envelope segments then form the complete envelope to form the new daughter nuclei. The cytoplasm also becomes less viscoid. The spindle fibers also disappear, which marks the end of the telophase. End of telophase marks the end of karyokinesis, that is nuclear division. After all the nuclear and cytoplasmic changes have finished occurring during the 4 stages of karyokinesis that we observed, a concluding event called cytokinesis also occurs. This process occurs at the equatorial plane of the cell. There have been various theories that have tried to explain this process. However, the most accepted view is that immediately after the daughter chromosomes have migrated to the opposite poles and have decondensed into chromatin fibers, then along with the formation of the new nuclear envelopes, a contractile ring is formed around the cell at the equatorial plane of the cell, due to which a division furrow is created. The constriction deepens further and further until the entire parent cell is divided into 2 daughter cells. End of cytokinesis marks the end of cell division. Hence, it can be concluded that when all those millions of somatic cells of a multicellular organism undergoes mitosis, it will result into doubling up of the cells, leading to growth. We have already studied mitosis theoretically. Now, let us look at the same thing practically also. Today, we will be preparing the slide of mitosis from onion root tips. Students, we have taken onion root tips. We have
so
chosen
why
onion
do
root
we use
tips.
only a plant tissue for observing the stages of mitosis? Why not any animal tissue instead of this onion?
That's a very nice question. We can also use animal tissues for preparing the mitosis slide, but getting the tissues of animals from a live animal is very difficult, and I would also say it is cruel for the animals. If we try to take animal tissues from a living animal, it will cause harm to the animal, and our purpose of study is not to create any harm to the animals. Plant tissues on the other hand are very easily available. The onion root tips are very easily available. We can grow onion root tips practically within 2 days in our laboratory, and you can have lots of them, as I will show you here. Look at this onion. These root tips that you see below the onion, they have been grown within just 1 week, and you can see the abundance of it that is available. Taking these onion root tips as a material for preparing the mitosis slide will cause no harm to this particular organism. This is one of the main reasons why we choose plant material for studying mitosis. The second reason why we choose this plant material is that finally, when we prepare the slide, all the different phases that we will be finally viewing under the microscope, they are so clear that the cells are large, the nucleus is large, the chromosomes are large compared to the animal tissue, and hence we generally go in for the plant tissue rather than the animal tissue. Okay. So, coming back to what I was saying is that we are using this onion root tip for preparing our mitosis slide. Let me first very briefly introduce you to the different materials that we will be needing for preparing this slide. First and foremost is, as I told you, these onion root tips are the ones which we will be requiring. Now, there can be two types of onion root tips, one which are freshly available just as I had shown you here. The second one are those which can be preserved and used at a very later stage also. Personally, I would use fresh tissues, because preserved tissues will not give exactly the same type of result as we get in the fresh tissues. Staining fresh tissues is also easier and quicker as compared to the preserved tissues. The next thing that we will be using are either watch glasses which you have been provided in your dissection box, or we have got these special type of apparatus which we call as cuvettes. These cuvettes are nothing but slightly glamorous type of watch glasses. It has got the same depth in it, and you have got a lid also, so that when you cover it with a lid, none of the different type of reagents which are volatile in nature will be evaporating out. Then you will be needing these droppers also. You will need a dropper for each and every different type of reagent that we will be using. You will be needing a pointed forceps, a BB forceps. Without micro slides, you can never prepare that particular slide that we would like to prepare. These are the cover slips that you will be needing, and all these are the different reagents that you will be using. The first and the foremost reagent that you will be needing is this particular acetomethanol. Acetomethanol is a mixture of acetic acid and methanol at a ratio of 1:3. This is a fixative. Then what you will be needing is 5-normal HCl. This 5-normal HCl will be used as a hydrolyzing agent. I will explain you all this still in more details when we actually start with the practical. Then you will be needing 95% alcohol, which is also many times known as rectified alcohol, rectified spirit. After that, you will be needing these two stains. One is acetocarmine and the other is acetoarsine, which will be using in a mixture of 1:1 ratio. Finally, before preparing the slide, you will be needing 50% acetic acid as the mounting medium. Now, generally the mounting media that we use for preparing a temporary slide is either glycerol or water, but here we will be using specifically 50% acetic acid for the very simple reason that the stains are prepared in 50% acetic acid. The solvent that we use for preparing the stain should be the same as the mounting medium. If we use water here, then that water will be acting as a hypotonic solution for the cells of the tissue, and it will unnecessarily disturb our process slide, and that is the reason why we are using 50% acetic acid. Now, let me step by step show you how this slide has to be prepared. First and foremost is you keep a wash glass or a cuvette ready and take 1 or 2 onion root tips. Now, you can see you have got a very long onion root, but we do not need the entire length of the onion root. We just need the tip part of the onion root, about 1 to 2 millimeters away from the tip part of the onion root. So, you can just pluck it off with the help of your forceps, take it in the cuvette. You can take one more. I would advise that you take at least 3 such onion root tips and process them simultaneously, so that you get at least one slide perfectly, and then you add a few drops of this acetomethanol and allow these onion root tips to get submerged completely. Cover this cuvette back with the lid, so that the acetomethanol, which is highly volatile, does not evaporate away. Now, I tell you what this acetomethanol is. This acetomethanol is a fixative. Whenever chromosomes have to be stained, whenever genetic material has to be stained, whenever DNA has to be stained, whenever chromatin has to be stained, they have to be first fixed. If we do not fix them with a particular suitable fixative, then these chromosomes will not pick up the stain. Now, what do you mean by fixative? What do you mean by fixation of the tissue? Fixation of the tissue means when you fix them with the help of a suitable fixative, all the chromatin material, they become stabilized. The entire structure, the entire contents of the chromatin become stabilized. They do not get denatured on further processing, because at a later stage after this particular step, we will be using a particular reagent which is really destructive in nature. So that the chromatin material does not get denatured, we have to fix them completely. This acetomethanol is such a type of fixative which is almost universal type of fixative. It is used in animal tissues, it is used in plant tissues, but it is used only when the chromosomes or the chromatin material has to be stained. Now, we will have to wait for about 15 minutes for the tissue to be fixed properly. Now that 15 minutes are over, we will have to discard away the fixative, so that we go to the next step. Now, when you have to discard the fixative, you have to allow the tissue to remain in the cuvette or the wash glass reservoir. You take the dropper and from the sides of the tissue, you just suck away the fixative and decant it away in a separate container, and then you have to add 5-normal HCl, a few drops of 5-normal HCl to the tissue and allow this HCl to remain for at least about 10 to 15 minutes again. Now, why we are using this HCl? It is a hydrolyzing agent. This HCl will hydrolyze away the cell walls of those plant cells which are there in the onion root tip. Until and unless that cell wall is not hydrolyzed away, it will not be able to pick up the stain again properly. So, HCl acts as a hydrolyzing agent. So, let us allow this tissue to remain for another 15 minutes in this hydrolyzing agent, that is 5-normal HCl.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now that the 15 minutes are over, I am quite confident that the cell walls of these plant cells have got completely hydrolyzed by HCl. We have to remove this HCl completely. Friends, be careful. This is HCl, means it is acid, and when you are using acid, you have to be careful that you do not discard away acid anywhere except in the sink or the dustbin which has been provided to you. Be careful also that this acid does not fall on your clothes also, else there will be holes in your clothes. Be careful that it does not fall on your skin also, so that your skin does not get burnt. Now, after removing HCl, we have to add 95% alcohol to the same tissues in the same cuvette. This alcohol has to be added for 5 minutes for 3 times. This alcohol is used in order to remove away all the acid from the plant tissues. If that acid remains in the plant tissue, then again it will interfere with our staining process. So, when we add this 95% alcohol to the plant tissue, gradually it will remove away all the HCl from the plant tissue, so that it does not remain acidic. Let us keep this tissue for 5 minutes in alcohol, and then we will give a change. Okay. Now that the 5 minutes are over, give a change of alcohol, remove the alcohol which is already used, again in the same way by sucking away all the alcohol by the dropper. Students, friends, be careful which droppers you are using. Use a separate dropper for each and every different reagent, so that the reagent which you are using next does not get contaminated by the previous reagent. Again we will add some alcohol back in this. Allow the tissues to remain for 5 minutes again, so that the alcohol can be processing the tissues further. Okay. Now, the third and the final change of alcohol. Remove the alcohol again, take care that the tissues do not get damaged while discarding away the previous alcohol, and add fresh alcohol. This is the last time that we will be adding, the third and the last time. And when you do that, it is for sure that all the HCl has been removed away from the onion root tips, and it is ready to be stained. Okay. Now, after these 3 changes of 95% alcohol, we will be finally staining the onion root tips. When you have to add the stain, be careful that there should be no trace of the alcohol in the onion root tips. Suck away all the alcohol that is there along with the onion root tips. Fortunately, alcohol being highly volatile, it will help you so that there is no trace of the alcohol in the root tips. Now, the stain that we are using, there are 2 stains. One is acetoorsin and the other is acetocarmine. We will be using both these stains at a ratio of 1:1. 1:1 ratio means if you are taking 1 drop of acetoorsin, you take 1 drop of acetocarmine. Some workers, they insist that they would like to use any one of the 2 stains. That is also perfectly alright. There is no harm, you can use any of the 2 stains, but if you have a combination of both the stains, it will give you brilliant results. You have to keep the onion root tips in the stain for at least about 20 to 30 minutes. Ideally, if all your chemicals are of high grade, then just 15 to 20 minutes of staining is sufficient to stain the nucleus of each and every cell. Let us wait for another 30 minutes for the stain to be picked up by the cells of the onion root tips. Okay. Now that the half an hour of staining is over, let us finally mount the slides on a cover slip and prepare a squash preparation. First of all, remove all the stain completely from the cuvette, and then place away all these stain bottles on one side, so that by mistake you do not knock them down. Place away everything on one side that you do not need, and work on a clean, neat table so that you enjoy your work. Take a clean microslide first of all. This clean microslide, place it on a watch glass or a cuvette, and then pick up one of the stain material, put it on the slide and add 1 drop of 50% acetic acid as the mounting medium. This 50% acetic acid does not only act as a mounting medium, but it will also remove any excess of stain that may be present in the tissue. Now, the cover slips that you use should be again quite clean. There is no restriction in the size of the cover slip. You may use square cover slips, you may use round cover slips, you may use long cover slips, it does not make any difference. But when you place the cover slip on the tissue, be careful that the tissue is in the center of the cover slip, so that when you finally see it under the microscope, it appears quite decent. Once you place the cover slip on the material, you have to prepare a squash preparation. Squash preparation means nothing but exactly as the name indicates, you have to squash the tissue. So, how you do is, you use your thumb, you place your thumb exactly on the onion root tip and very gently apply some pressure, and then pick up your thumb again, and that is the most important step while preparing this squash preparation. When you are picking up back your thumb, with one of your fingers of the other hand, keep the cover slip held onto the slide, so that when you are taking your thumb, the cover slip does not stick to your thumb and come along with the thumb. And now your squash is ready. When you have prepared a squash preparation, you will see that the onion root tip, which was like a thread like long structure, when you squash it, all the cells, they separate from each other and they spread out completely. The entire tissue is squashed, and when it is squashed, you will see that all the cells, they separate out, they spread out completely in a circular disc like manner. And then once you have prepared the squash preparation, it is ready to be viewed under the microscope. So, take a good microscope and first observe the slide under the low power, and then only you go to observe it under the high power. Okay, so let us have a look at this slide that we have prepared with such great work. Okay, students, now if you don't have any more further questions, you may start with your practical, prepare your own slide and watch under the microscope. Have you all finished preparing your slides? I am coming around to see your slides. Keep them ready under the microscope, but under the high power.